All right, guys, welcome back. Boots come in pairs at BCIP Baseball on Instagram, I believe. Yeah, follow us on our socials for sure. Um, Cubs are on a heater, right? We're back, baby,
Woo!
right? Kind of. Are we? It's just, they're doing it, yes. The sweep of the Pirates was great. Is it going to be enough, though? Because now we are only 2 games over 500.
Hmm.
But a lot of encouraging things, a lot of good things, and I can say this because I got called out a little bit for my Miguel Amaya take. He's figured it out. I think
Yes.
the I guess I'll start with him because again I owe the apology for ripping into him. The catching aspect is still not great, but the hitting aspect is coming around. Again, you can't have both, right? You can't have no hitting and bad catching. Well, the no stride seems to be working. He's driving the ball to center field for power. Miguel Amaya is making a case for why he might be a potential piece moving forward. Still a position the Cubs need to address going forward, but he's throwing his name in the mix, and that bottom of the lineup is really carrying them.
Hmm.
You want to go? You got a little more of the numbers, right? Digging
Right.
deeper
I
into it.
mean, starting with Miguel Amaya, it's night and day difference. You can see that he just looks way more comfortable in the batter's box, making a little bit of a mechanical change, going to the no stride. He just looks more balanced, looks more, like I said, confident. He has been the bottom of the Cubs lineup had been a problem, a black
Mm,
hole, if you will, and they have just surged big time, and he's been a big part of it. He Since we came on last, the Cubs are 9-3. They're playing really good baseball. They're scoring runs, which is great. But yeah, and the month of August, in particular for the hitters, has been very very encouraging. Maya leading the charge. Some of his numbers. So he has a 10-14 OPS, nine extra base hits, and 19 RBIs.
yeah.
That is bananas. 19 of his 37 RBIs have come in this month. That is so
Yeah.
amazing. And then adding to that catcher position, this addition of Christian Bethencourt has been
Yes.
unbelievable. Capped off by his amazing 7 RBI game yesterday. Lots of clutch hits when they were down. They were down 10-3, came roaring back, ended up winning 14-10. But Bethencourt, this month, 1503 OPS. He has a 407 batting average since coming to the Cubs, and he has 14 RBIs and six extra base hits. So that catcher's position has really powered this lineup. Just one position that's been really, really working for them, and it's something that was not good going into this year. The catching last year had been really good. Jan Gomes did a great job. He had an
Yeah.
uncharacteristic year for a guy who's in the twilight of his career. And then it went to a position of weakness on all sides of the baseball. But the catchers have really been
Yep.
great, and it's been awesome. Um,
Yeah, they're
Another
they're
guy,
getting they're getting 33 RBIs out of their 9 hole hitter, which again has been Bethencourt or Amaya. Which when you're getting zero, again you just said it like Miguel Amaya's 37 RBIs on the season and
right?
19 came this month. So I think the criticism was correct, but man, is
Hmm.
he turned it around? Is he hot? I mean, they're both hitting over 330, which is
Right,
phenomenal.
right.
Bethencourt came out of nowhere. He's also been really good defensively.
He's
He's been
he's
throwing
always
guys
been he's
out.
always been a really good defensive catcher.
It's just refreshing to see we're getting a ton of production on the bottom of the lineup. You're correct. Yeah.
Right. Um, Adding to that bottom of the lineup, Pete Crow Armstrong
Mm-hmm.
is having the best stretch of his pro career, and he is flat out dangerous. We saw earlier this week him hitting that inside the park home run. Was it this week?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah,
Versus Miami.
um,
Yep.
yeah, versus Miami. Um, Rounding the bases in just over 14 seconds, which is blazing speed. This month he has a 980 OPS, unbelievable. I think he's hitting about 330, 10 extra base hits, 14 RBIs, six stolen bases in the month. Those are two positions, or Pete Crow Armstrong, Amaya, Bethencourt. That's the bottom of your lineup, and they're getting on base. They were huge in yesterday's comeback win. Just been amazing. Adding to that, Seiya Suzuki has been on fire. He's been in the DH spot a lot more, which has been good for the team.
Yes.
A lot better defensively.
Which
So
we've
Seiya's
called out many times before. I think he doesn't hit well. They showed the last 162 games. He has 30 homers in the last 162 games that he's played in. Is that enough to be a DH though? That's the question, right? That's the tough
right.
part. But you're right. They're playing a much better defensive outfield with their current setup.
Right. And speaking of your DH, I mean, I'd take a 908 OPS for my DH. 10 extra base hits, 12 RBIs. Dansby Swanson has really come on. He has 19 RBIs this month, about an 800 OPS. He has stolen 8 bases this month. 8. Like the Cubs are off and run. The Cubs have 100. The Cubs have 124 stolen bases on the year, and 36 have come this month. Like a third of their stolen, or about a quarter of their stolen bases.
32 of them are off Yasmani Grandal though.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, they're running.
They are. They're being aggressive. They have to.
Right.
They have to.
Ian Happ has a 921 OPS, 14 extra base hits, 12 RBIs. He's stolen a couple bases. Bellinger has 14 RBIs this month, 10 extra base hits. Mike Tauchman has been coming off the bench a lot. He has over a 900 OPS. Is doing really excelling in pinch hit situations. So can't speak more about the offense. Granted, it is coming against most of it is coming against teams they should beat. But you have to win those games. Sweeping the Tigers sweeping the Pirates was huge. That game, after dominating the first 2 games, they really needed that third win, and the offense really coming through was incredible. So yeah, that's the offensive piece of things. I mean, pitching, Justin Steele has been awesome. 2.03 ERA this month. They've won all 5 of the starts that he's pitched in. He's got 3 wins. Biggest thing has been the back half of this bullpen, though. Porter Hodge, Jorge Lopez, Tyson Miller, or who's the last guy? Nate Pearson. So Hodge has 11 appearances, 1.5 ERA. Lopez has 9 appearances, 0.96 ERA. He's got 16 strikeouts and 1 walk. Like the guy's not letting people on base.
Yep.
Tyson Miller,
the anti-Hector Neris. Yeah.
Right. Tyson Miller has 11 appearances, no earned runs. And then Nate Pearson in his last 7 has a 2.25 ERA. He's got electric stuff. So you got 4 guys right there. Drew Smiley has been really good this year. This past month has not been super great, but he still has an ERA under 3. So you got 5 bullpen pieces right there that are really, really good. And 4 of them have been super dominant when they need to be. That in a combination with the offense, the defense, the running, it's just awesome seeing them play good baseball. Like I said, it's been a really friendly schedule. After they get through this little patch here, they play the Yankees and the Dodgers back-to-back, which will be tough. Then you got Colorado, you got Pittsburgh again. You got there's another team in there that they should be able to beat. And then they end the season with Philadelphia and Cincinnati. So we'll see. I mean, it's really, really up to them. They control their own destiny. Like you were saying before, the team they're chasing is Atlanta. They're about 5.5 behind them right now. They're playing good baseball as well. But, yeah, you can only control what you can do, or you can only control how you perform and how you play against your opponent.
It's still in their hands, kind of. They need a team like Atlanta to lose. They do. They have games at hand still to win. You need to win a lot of games. I think these sweeps are important. They couldn't get it done against Detroit. They couldn't sweep Miami. They almost didn't sweep Pittsburgh, but it was a great comeback. Teams in that position were like 1,192-0, went up 7 runs after the 7th inning. So that is, if it felt like a special game, it's because it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. They need to continue to win. There's a little bit of time left. We are in Craig Timber, right? Mm-hmm. Craig Counsell is historically good in September. He hasn't been good in October yet, so we're trying to get to that point. But are they going to be playing October baseball? I don't know. You're still, yes, they control their own destiny, kind of. you need teams to lose.
Right.
And are the Mets going to lose a lot? Are the Braves going to – you need the Braves to lose 5 more games than you do over the course of the stretch. And is that going to happen? You have to play perfect baseball. They've kind of backed themselves into a corner. But, yeah, I like the way they're playing now. I feel like we did this last year. It's like, just the same thing. It's deja vu. It's like, here we are. We're talking about, meaningful baseball going into September. But is it meaningful enough? Are they playing meaningful October baseball? It's like, so that's where the frustration is a little bit, but it's at least fun to watch them do this kind of stuff. PCA is Nico was talking about PCA, and he goes, the joke is he gets on first base with a walk, and they go, nice triple, because he's going to be on third, especially with Grandal behind the plate. So I think they're playing more loose. I think they have a little bit of identity. But where do you go with this team going forward? If it doesn't work out, you have a lot of pieces that are going to be there next year, right? Cody Bellinger might opt in because he's not having a incredible season, right? He might take $30 million. So, where are you really upgrading this lineup? They just need to play better, right? They need to play better for 162 and not just these little stretches.
Yeah. And I guess where I see in our general tone last year was, hey, we've gotten ourselves back into this playoff picture. Take it one series at a time. What I'm seeing this year, that's a little bit different. Granted, they were a little bit further ahead in August last year than they are right now when it comes to the standings, and they were in more of a playoff position. The thing I'm seeing that's different is that they're not banged up. They're not as banged up.
Yeah.
And I don't think the back half of the bullpen was as strong as it is right now.
Yeah.
The offense is also playing a little bit better. They're a little bit more dynamic than they were. Like I said, they're running a lot more. The Cubs are 5th in baseball in stolen bases, which is they're not a running team traditionally, and Craig Counsell's not a running manager. So it's just going to show that he's taking a little bit more risk, and he's realizing, hey, I have guys who, like Pete Crow Armstrong has blazing speed, but they have guys who are athletes and who can run.
Yeah.
So you just got to play the kind of baseball that Craig likes to play, and you got to keep winning games, like you said. You just got to keep knocking them down. So, again, it's all very winnable games. I don't want to jinx us. I'll knock on the wood here, but it is a series at a time. But you really got to beat these good teams, and you have to sweep them. Or you beat not these good teams, that you need to beat the teams you should beat, and you need to sweep them. You can't play Colorado and lose a game. You need to win all 3 of those games. They can ambush you. All these teams can, Washington. Washington's not a playoff team, but they have a lot of young guys who are hungry and want to.
They just took a series from the Yankees. It's really, and this is why you hate to see your team put themselves in this position. It is really difficult to sweep baseball series. It just is.
Right.
It's hard to do. You saw it earlier with the Cubs Cardinals when they should have probably taken all 4 of those games and they end up splitting. And it's just it's very difficult to beat a team 3 days in a row when they see your best stuff. And, you scored 18 runs yesterday. What are you going to score today? 2, it's just so goofy. And that's why you don't want to be backed into this corner. It is kind of the opposite of last year, though, because last year they kind of tapered off at the end and didn't, finish the season strong. This year, they haven't been above 500 since May. They lost a game to the Brewers, and they have not been 500 since. And it's, we're in August, end of August, and we're just now you're 2 games above. That's crazy that you've been that far under. And it's, miraculous they were 8 games under, and now you're at this point, but that's the hole you kind of dug yourself into. And again, I'm glad they're showing a little bit of fight. I'm glad they're being more aggressive, but that's got to be from game 1 next year for sure.
Right. And hopefully they go out and, like you said, they have pieces that are going to be there next year. They'll probably have a couple of those younger guys who are in AAA right now, either challenging for a spot or winning spots on the opening day roster. But there's got to be some free agent signings. I would say starting pitching needs to be a very big point of emphasis, and then also locking down some relievers if some of these guys don't come back. I think so. I think they have control of some of them, but not all of them. Yeah. But they do. It is encouraging to see some younger guys, some power arms, get the job done in the later innings. They need that after how disastrous things have been. Just imagine, we keep saying it. Imagine where they'd be if they didn't blow all these games.
Yeah,
It's just crazy.
you need to address the closer role. I think the rest of the bullpen, like Craig was saying early in the year, he goes, you have to see what you have early in the year to plan for later in the year. And this year, the biggest glaring hole was that they didn't have someone when they're winning the game late to shut it down. You can have middle guys that, come in and out. Is Porter Hodge going to do this next year for a full season? I don't know. Is Tyson Miller going to be this next year? I don't know. Are they going to figure him out? Who knows? It's just bullpens are so volatile. Look at the Diamondbacks. Paul Sewald, the best closer, down the stretch last year, is no longer closing baseball games. And Torey Lovullo wants him to, but, he's not right now because he's not pitching well. And who would have predicted that, right? So I think you need to shore up the closer role for sure. Because you still don't have a closer on this team, and it's not Adbert Alzolay. I don't know. Even if he comes back, I don't care. It's not him. You need the guy you were rumored to be traded for, Emmanuel Clase. That's what you need. You need a big name back there to finish the job. The rest of the pieces will figure themselves out, but you feel a heck of a lot better about it when you have a name back there to close the door. So they need to address that specific position. And you're right, starters. They need at least 2 more starters. Kyle Hendricks cannot be pitching for you next year.
No.
It's just, you need better than that. So
yes.
Especially when it's Kyle Hendricks versus Paul Skeens. That's not exactly the marquee matchup you want, but they won the game anyways, so we don't mind.
The strange thing, not that I want to dwell on Kyle for too long, but it's just kind of strange, his outing sometimes, because it's like you get the home runs, but then you get the incredibly soft contact that just falls in, or these dribblers, and it's like, I feel like it's a combination of getting pounded and having bad luck. Because especially like yesterday, there was just this weird like flare pop-up thing that should have been caught by like 3 people, and it fell in. It's like, but again, you can't give up. You can't give up these long bombs that he gives up or get hammered. But at the same time, it's like, I think some of it's a little bit of bad luck on his part too.
Unfortunately, with Kyle, it's always been this way. When he's on, he's brilliant. When the location is on, he's brilliant. When it's just a little bit off, they hammer him because he's not throwing that hard. He's throwing that changeup 84 miles an hour. He's throwing the fastball at 87. That's very hittable. So when he misses his spot at an 87 mile per hour fastball, it's Dan Heron all over again. It's hitting off the video board. It's batting practice for these guys. So I like everything Kyle Hendricks has done as a Cub. He's our World Series champion, Game 7 starter. He should have won the Cy Young that year, but it's time to find somebody else to do it. And it's because you just can't have it. He's pitched better down the stretch, but if you're going to win playoff games, he's not going to be pitching games for you. That's just the reality of it. You can't have a clunker in a 3-game, 5-game series. It can't happen. So
can't afford it. Not now.
Nope, absolutely not. Well, again, the Cubs are doing what they're doing, but there's some other teams that are underperforming. I know you don't want to talk about the White Sox, but they're on the cusp of history. You have to track it. They have 31 wins, 104 losses. They're the quickest team to 100 losses. Again, when you're the worst team ever in the history of baseball, you're going to be the first one to 100 losses. It's just going to happen. They have been eliminated from the playoffs, the earliest ever in history. So again, you don't want to talk about it, but I think it's worth mentioning that they have a .230 win percentage. Okay, other disappointments. Seattle is on my radar. Just fired their manager, same as the White Sox just fired. I like Grady Sizemore, so that's one thing the White Sox have going for them. But yeah, Seattle fires their manager. What are the Rangers doing? Our World Series champions.
Do you want to talk about the Mariners first, or we want to dive into the Rangers?
You know what? Because you sent me that video of it was a local broadcaster, right? That was just losing his mind. I'm tired of defending these guys. Let's start with the Mariners because they're just weird, man. They're lost the Angels 2.0, almost. It feels
Yeah.
like.
They're the Angels 2.0 with one of the best starting pitching staffs
Yes.
ever. The biggest thing I mean, it's definitely their offense.
Yeah.
You can't hit 216 as a team and have a OPS under 670 and expect to win games. These poor starters, their team ERA, like not the starters, but their team ERA is 3.5. Their
Yeah.
whip is like 1.06.
Yeah.
They have 81 quality starts as a team. And I sent you that graphic. It was a few days ago now. At the time, it was like 76 quality starts or 77 quality starts. And they had lost like 26 of those games, like a third of the games.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. And like their defense isn't great. Like they're middle of the pack.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've ever seen something where pitching has been so dominant and the offense has been the absolute opposite.
Yeah.
Like, and you add Justin Turner, established veteran, not having a great year, but he's Justin Turner. You add Randy Arozarena, who's not having a Randy Arozarena type year, but he's Randy Arozarena. Like he can do a lot of fun things. But to have like nothing else, like Julio Rodriguez has been banged up, but he's not having a great year. Cal Raleigh is a good catcher. He's got some pop, but he's hitting 220.
Yeah. Mitch Garver.
They just don't. Garver has been a huge disappointment. Garver has been terrible. Garver's hitting under 170.
Yeah.
But they just don't hit and they don't score.
This one carries between both the Rangers and Seattle. Both catchers last year in the postseason were hitting great. Jonah Heim and Mitch Garver did fantastic. And I go, hey, just sign one of those guys, pick one, doesn't matter, whatever. They're both underachieving tremendously, which is playing into it. I mean, what's Polanco doing? He's a career 280 hitter. He's hitting 212.
He's terrible.
JP Crawford's hitting 201.
And he's been hurt.
Is it the ballpark?
I don't know. I mean, it is more of a pitcher's park, but even Ty France. Ty France hit over 280 last year, and they DFA'd him. He's with Cincinnati now. So, they're just not very good. I think Mitch Haniger's back with the team, if I'm not mistaken, too. But he's not hitting great. No one's hitting great on that team. There's not one person who's hitting great. They're hitting 216 as a team, so no one's hitting great. But, I mean, Houston had a not great start, and Seattle had a great start because of their pitching staff. Seattle's still technically in the run. They're still over 500.
Yeah.
But it's a tough go because you have to overcome teams in the East. Yeah. You have to overcome teams in the Central, like the Royals and the Twins. So it's going to be a tough go. I mean,
you were sitting in June as a Mariners fan with a 90% chance to make the playoffs. That's what the projection was. I think the Astros were at 27%, whatever. Again, that's early. June's early. But to be completely flip-flopped now, where your expectancy is again, you just fired your manager. You're not expecting to win after that, right? You might go on a little surge because, that might fire the guys up. But, Houston we thought was dead in the water. They DFA'd Jose Abreu, and we're like, oh, my gosh, what are they going to do? They've just kind of done their thing, their World Series thing that they do every year without a first baseman. Although this, is it DiCenzo? Have you seen the first baseman for Houston? It's not Singleton. It's this young kid. He's got a very...
Laferdio got traded.
No, I think it's DiCenzo. When he gets a hit or something, they're just in the dugout. It's hilarious because they were interviewing Justin Verlander during his at bat, and he got a hit, and then I think he hit a home run, and Verlander's just and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but but he's 6'7", he's huge.
Okay,
he's a huge first baseman, but again, Houston's just doing Houston things like they always do.
Right.
But if you're a Mariners fan, that local radio host was just I'm tired of watching this team. They've made the playoffs 4 times, whatever it is. they have more ruptured testicles than they do playoff visits. Like,
Right.
it's a weird stat, but they do. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just what a franchise just mired in mediocrity and just not. I mean, I remember the '01 Mariners that had 116 wins, and you think that team's going to be around forever and doing the things, and nope. You had Ken Griffey
No.
Jr., couldn't win. You had Ichiro, the best hitter on the planet, couldn't win. Adrian
Alex
Beltre was
Rodriguez.
there. Alex Rodriguez.
Alex Rodriguez.
You've had great players. Just you had King Felix for 15 years, did nothing.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
just it doesn't make doesn't make sense. They can bring anybody in there. Maybe it's the ballpark. Maybe it's I don't know. I have no idea what the thing in Seattle is that they just can't figure it out. But.
Right. I mean, but at this point, I'd rather be Seattle than be Texas.
Would you? Because they just won a World Series. I know they're having a down year.
Right. Right. This year, I would rather be Seattle than be Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say it's not terribly surprising. I thought that after the break they might get healthy and catch fire a little bit, but
Yeah.
they're playing 500 baseball, maybe a little bit a shade under,
Yeah.
and there's just no power. The power numbers are way down. Corey Seager's not having a problem with power, but everybody else is. Yeah, they're banged up. They haven't had a full year with Josh Young. They haven't had Evan Carter hardly at all. Wyatt Langford missed some time. Marcus Semion's having a little bit of a down year.
Yeah.
Adolis is having a little bit of a down year. They were without Nathaniel Lowe for a little while. The pitching has been kind of the same. Obviously, a year without DeGrom.
Their pitching has been a detriment because DeGrom's been out, but they knew that. Scherzer hasn't been able to come back,
No.
and then Nate Eovaldi is a postseason pitcher. We know this.
Right.
When you have regular season Nate Eovaldi, it's just not as exciting. But you get him in that October stretch, he is just lights out. So
and I mean he's had a solid year, but not a lights out year. I mean I think his ERA is about 3.6, a little maybe a shade under that. He had a really nice outing today.
Yeah.
They just got Cody Bradford back, which he started out really good, and he was hurt for a while. But yeah, beyond that, I mean, they're not really. They have some nice like bullpen pieces too, but yeah, they're just not playing great baseball.
I think that answers the question though that we were kind of mulling around when they won last year, and were they just the best team at the right time?
Yes.
Or are they a really talented team?
Yes.
And I think you're right. They just clicked at the right time, and they have a lot of really good players, right? And they have been banged up, and health is always an issue. But you don't know if the stars are ever going to line again. Remember that Mets pitching staff? They went 5 deep, and it's like, oh, they're going to be in the World Series every year. They never got back there, and they never won. And it's just you can't predict it.
No.
But you always take the World Series with you. So I would still rather be a Rangers fan than a Mariners fan.
Yeah, I guess I should rephrase that. I'd rather be a Mariner fan this year versus a Ranger fan this year. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if like expecting the drop up. Like the Mariners got hot at the right time, and they barely made the playoffs, and they had to win a lot in September in order to get there, and then there's no denying the firepower that they have, and that they'll probably return next year. But yeah, just a little bit strange. In the second half, the only teams that they've beat really are the White Sox twice and Pittsburgh once. So they haven't been beating any good teams. And yeah, I mean,
they did the good work in cleaning out for the White Sox. They did. Jankowski robbed a game-winning home run from Andrew Vaughn, which would have gave them 32 wins, which is getting too close to the record. So
did he also hit a home run as well, Jankowski? I think he hit one and he robbed one.
I can't confirm because I haven't watched a White Sox game since April. But I did see him rob the homer, and he was well above the fence and definitely needed to bring that one back. Otherwise, that would have been a walk-off. So they're doing something. But yeah, it's guys like that. Didn't Talkman rob them this year too? Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Or Seiya? No, Seiya did.
Was it
Seiya robbed him.
Oh yeah, Seiya
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
It was Seiya.
yeah, yeah. But either way, it's just yeah. The Rangers is well. We were at a point at one point in the season where both teams from the World Series were out of the playoff mix by a decent chunk. The
Right.
Diamondbacks have turned it around. They are second in the wild card, playing really good baseball with San Diego. But yeah, the Rangers just have not been able to replicate last year's magic. That's for sure.
I think the Diamondbacks lead baseball in runs scored.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but I thought I saw like 712. I know they might be tops in the National League, but
Okay. Yeah,
I've been watching.
Philly was up there for a while, but they've cooled
Right.
off. So
They have. They have. I don't know. I've been watching. I've been watching the Diamondbacks the past couple of nights because they're playing the Mets, and it's just been a good game to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. They're a really good team.
yeah, and now they have experience, and now maybe they can go win it.
Right.
and,
Corbin hit a walk-off grand slam last night,
Did he?
or a go-ahead grand slam. He's starting to. I know. I'm looking at Corbin's numbers. Like the batting average might not be there. He's about 50 points lower than last year, but he's scoring a lot of runs. I think he'll have more runs, more homers, more RBIs, more walks.
I find myself because I was thinking about Corbin Carroll the other day, and just like the sophomore slump, and what do we do with this? Carter Hawkins always preaches, it's a game of 162. You don't judge it till the season's over. Like you shouldn't
Right.
be too harsh on guys when they're not performing. Again, Miguel Amaya is on a heater, and I was a little what. I think there's room for both. But a guy like Corbin Carroll, who's not that he's earned his keep, but like he's a talented guy. You can't
Right.
keep him down forever, right? If you're the Diamondbacks, you just give him every opportunity to succeed, right?
Right.
Even if he's having a down year, even if he hits 220 for the year, it doesn't really matter as long as he's performing in October. As long
Yeah.
as he's still doing the things that he does well, he's still aggressive, he's still going after balls. I mean, I remember seeing Trent Gresham a couple of weeks ago just low for that ball in center field that bounces off his glove and rolls away, and Aaron Boone's just glaring at him. But like, I don't think Corbin Carroll would ever do that, right? Like,
No.
I can't speak for the guy. I don't know what's in there, but like, just the style of game he plays, there's zero room for a play like that. And also, he's
Right.
been in a World Series, so. And, yeah, guys like that will find a way to succeed if they work at it. And I
Right.
think he's too
And
good
he
to
wasn't.
keep
And I'm glad they didn't send him down because he's
Yeah.
not going to learn anything down there.
No.
He belongs in the big show, and you just got to work through things. And his batting average might be down, but he's finding ways to evolve his game. He's not stealing as many bases this year. I think he only has about 20, and he had 54 last year. But he's already tied the number of walks that he has this year. I think he has like 56 walks. He had like maybe 58 last year. So he's more patient. He's figuring it out more. He'll probably score more runs this year than he scored last year. He's probably going to hit more home runs. He already has more triples this year than last year. Like there's a lot of things that he's doing really well, and he's just figuring it out. I mean, he'll figure out the batting average part of things. He's definitely doing a lot better in the last couple months than he did when he started. But yeah, he's just too talented to keep down. He's going to keep finding ways to impact the game.
As long as you don't see and we knew this as Cub fans with Javi Baez, but to see the regression he's had, he always swung at bad pitches. And you know what? He has continued to swing at bad pitches. He ended the game for the Cubs the other night on the other side, swinging at a really bad pitch. So, that's what you don't want to see. As long as he's doing the things he's supposed to be, if it's not a mechanical issue, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Good things will happen. And that's the crazy thing. Like, there's another Kyle Schwarberism was he, hit for, 190 batting average, but was on base more than Luis Ariz, which we've mentioned a couple times. But, like, that's the goofy part about baseball is Corbin Carroll might be more productive this year than he was last year, hitting 50 points less, right?
Right.
How does that happen? Well, because you know what? You can contribute more than just base hits. You can get on base with walks. You can do more damage with the pitches you do hit. You can hit triples. You can hit homers, whatever it is. So, yeah, I think that's very important.
Right. Your OPS might not be up, but you can walk and be on third base. Like that's just as good as a triple.
Yes.
So
well, that's PCA all day is, hey, just find a way to get to first. It doesn't have to be a hit. You don't have to be the power guy. We need you to get on base for the top of the lineup and do that steal thing that you've only been caught once doing, right?
Right.
He's 26 for 27. Steal,
Yeah,
man. Go,
and
keep going.
and it was and he got and his one stolen base
Got reversed.
that he got caught was he got picked off a little bit on a weird.
Yeah.
It was a bunt through, like it was supposed to be. Hap didn't get the bunt down.
I feel like since he's been caught stealing, he's been more aggressive.
Right.
When he was undefeated, he was kind of being a little more tentative, but now it's like, all right, I've been caught already. I might as well go. Like, yeah, keep going.
Right.
Like, take that attitude into next year and just run wild.
Right. Absolutely.
The other part of this is Dylan Cruz just made his debut for Washington. Already hit a homer, already making an impact. And this goes back to something that we've talked about in the past with these college players coming up and contributing. Again, we're 2 years removed from LSU winning the College World Series, right? And you have Paul Skeens pitching and now Dylan Cruz playing for Washington. What else are you seeing with these younger college guys contributing to organizations? I think it's great.
It's amazing. I think it just goes to show how much the college game has evolved. And when you think about it, high-level Division I baseball, they're playing the best when it comes to amateurs. They're facing velocity. There's athleticism in the field. There's insane power. We talked about the College World Series on one of the episodes and just kind of breaking down Texas A&M and Tennessee, just the insane amount of production and runs added in and home runs and extra base hits. Like, these guys can swing. They're strong. They're fast. They're talented. They're athletic. So I think that translates a lot better to the pro game. And then these colleges are run like major league and minor league organizations. Like their facilities are on par, if not better, than a lot of these minor league facilities. So they already kind of walk the walk when it comes to, or walk the walk and talk the talk when it comes to just high level baseball. So yeah, you're just seeing a lot more maturity. You're seeing guys who've established a routine, guys who've gotten in the weight room. And it's really reflecting in these drafts, and you're kind of seeing professional organizations go back in and evaluating these guys at a whole lot higher of a level. You just mentioned Skeens and Cruz, but other guys from that last year's draft who are already in the show, Wyatt Langford has had a pretty good success. He was, I think, the number 3 or 4 overall pick last year. Nolan Shanuel for the Angels, he was the first guy from the 23 draft who made his way to the big show. Jacob Wilson has played a few games for Oakland. Rhett Lauder was just promoted to Cincinnati. He'll be making his first start pretty soon. So you have guys like that who are doing a lot of good things. And then you have guys like Kyle Teal and Matt Shaw, who were drafted last year. They're already in AAA.
Well, the Cubs just promoted their number 1 overall pick already. Like, he's killing it. Was it Smith?
Oh, yeah. Cam Smith, yeah.
Cam Smith is crushing the ball. They're like, oh, yeah, move him up. I mean, was he Florida State?
He's Florida State.
I mean, and again, I don't want to, like, bash the high school players, but you're right. They're a much more finished product. You know what you're getting. If you're in an organization that's looking to win in the next 3 to 4 years, you want these college guys because you don't have 6, 7, 8. Like, what do we say? Bryce Terang took 8 years to get to the show out of high school. That's what you're looking at when you draft a high school prospect. Unless they're a pitcher that's throwing 100 miles an hour and just needs some fine tuning, most of these hitters are not going to be ready.
Right. It will take them 3, 4, 5 years to get to the next level.
Yeah.
I mean, even looking at guys from this 24 draft, lots of high level, just professional type players. Travis Bazzana, who I got to see play the other day, number 1 overall pick for the Guardians, already in high A ball. He hit a go-ahead 3-run shot late in the game, ended up being the game winner, but super cool to see him do that in person. I had to make sure that I made it out to the ballpark for that. Then you got guys like Charlie Condon, Georgia, big time prospect. Jack Caglione, Florida, big time prospect for the Royals. Nick Kurtz for the Oakland Athletics is already up in Double A. He's first baseman from Wake Forest. So a lot of these guys are having, we like to say in the Midwest League and the high A leagues, that's like your first cup of coffee, your first big professional season that you're playing. A lot of these guys are playing in the College World Series, and they're already playing high A ball. They're already making their way to double A. They're doing special things. So yeah, it's just the maturity thing. It's the maturity thing, and having done this for 3 to 4 years
It's
already
maturity.
at the
It's
level.
2 more years of at bats at a high level, competing for stuff like especially in the College World Series. Those are high leverage games. It's not always a fair circumstance going through the super regionals and all that kind of stuff to get to Omaha, but it's competitive baseball. High school baseball does not compare to that, and it's hard to know what it, like because again, if you're getting drafted, you're the best player in your league or school area or district or whatever it is. So there's really not a good way to measure it. College is just whittling it down a little further. It's like, hey, we're looking at the best of that 0.5% of players that made it to college baseball. So it's just a better pool, and I think that's why you are seeing guys like Dylan Cruz come up so quickly and make an impact. And we'll see. Again, you stretch it out over 162. None of these guys have played that many games. We'll see what they become. But so many guys don't even make it this far.
Right.
We know personally of guys that never made it out of rookie ball. Just because that's where they got, or they get to Double A or whatever it like, and they fizzle out. So just the fact you've been called up is huge, and to see a return on investment so quickly, it's almost like it's the NFL draft when they go straight from college to the pros and there's no minor league. But it's making me pay a little bit more attention to the draft portion and maybe college baseball because you want to see the future, right? You want to see. That's why people love college football. They want to see the future of the NFL, right? Well, college baseball for the longest time wasn't that. And now we're kind of seeing a little bit of a bridge where you haven't completely forgotten about their exploits in college by the time they get up. So
Right. And I mean, for you, again, it's big. It's always taken a whole lot of prove it to me for you to be like, hey, like this prospect is exciting. I can name, I can't name them on more than one hand the number of prospects that you've been excited about. But it's cool to hear you talk about that and to acknowledge it. And I agree with you. Like people want to see the bright young stars of the game. But they want like if you get drafted in 2019 or 2017, you're not making it to the league until 2024. Again, it's easy to be forgotten about. You're a 27, 28-year-old kid, 30-year-old kid. Some of these kids 33 years old, 34 years old by the time you make it. It's such a hard game to make it in. But yeah, I mean, it's all about preparation. And again, these guys are more ready than they've ever been. And hopefully it continues to grow the game, gets more excitement, more buzz. It's great. I love to see it.
yeah, well then you get increased interest at the minor league level too. Like you're going to see a minor league game because they drafted a kid. Those are meant to be fun, but also they are developmental. There is a reason why you go to the ballpark other than just the entertainment value and some ballpark food at a lower venue. I remember Nick talking about Churio. He had to have been there when he was 18 years old, so that was 2 years ago. So you go from single A to the pros in 2 years. That's the kind of stuff that's exciting and will bring people out to the ballpark at every level. Again, you get these towns like Appleton where the closest team is 2 hours away, or you have the Timber Rattlers, and you can see some quality baseball at home and have some fun at the ballpark. So it's just, you're right. It creates the buzz. It creates the excitement. You can make all these funny rules and do all these things, but if the game is exciting at every level, people will tune in for it. They'll want to see it. So, but again, this is just the latest, wave. And you're going to see some more in September, probably, of some younger guys. The Nationals are doing it a lot. When they moved on from Lane Thomas, I was like, what are they doing? But then they brought up, James Wood and kind of, they're giving their guys some run, and that's fun to see. And they're winning games. Again, they just beat the Yankees. So you think these kids are coming up and thinking it's a lost season. No, they care about the at-bats and they want to beat the
Mhm.
Yankees, and they are.
Yeah.
So
And they want to prove themselves, and they want to get on the map of not your sports nut, not your Nationals nut, but they want to be on your casual fan. Like you want to be walking down the street in DC and like, oh hey, you're James Wood. You look up to him because he's so big. But
Well,
it's just cool.
and as our friend Ryan Noda has alluded to, you're playing for every team at all times, right? You could be traded at any point. So yeah, you want to be representing the team you're representing, but you know what? The Yankees might need a shortstop or a left fielder down the road, and they go, hey, remember when James Wood crushed us in a series in August? Maybe we should go get that guy because the Nationals aren't competing. There you go, and all of a sudden you're competing for a World Series and you didn't even know it. So, yeah, that's the thing is always be ready, and every at bat matters. And yeah, that's just it's fun to see again, even a team that's out of it still doing some exciting stuff. So and still having watchable baseball.
Right.
Unlike the White Sox.
Yes.
There's no one on that team I would take. No one on their AAA team I would take. Good luck, Chris Getz. You have a lot of work ahead of you. But we will see, again, what the next couple weeks brings. Hopefully it brings more Cubs wins. We need a lot of them, and just keep that rolling. Who do they have this weekend? What's our outlook?
I believe they have. I think they have Washington coming up.
Okay.
Which is tough.
Yeah.
I know they have Washington and Pittsburgh again.
Yes.
Before they have the boppers, and then they end on a pretty friendly note. But they do play Washington twice.
Okay.
I was going to ask you this before we signed off, but not sure if you're planning on going to any games. I might try to get to some, at least one. If the Nationals are playing at Wrigley and I'm able to make it to a game, I might want to go out and watch James Wooden and Dylan Cruz for sure.
I mean, if they came to Milwaukee, they probably don't. I can't imagine this.
They might. We can check.
But yeah, we'll see. You know, life happens. It's tough for me to get to Chicago presently, but I will at least watch
in the meantime, I mean, last week of the minor league baseball season is coming up too, so maybe another one of those. Will not make it to Appleton this year, unfortunately. Maybe next year, but I've gotten out to a couple of the Whitecaps games in the past few weeks, and it's been fun. So try to get out to another baseball game or two before the season ends. But it's been a fantastic year for sure.
Yeah. My saving grace is the multi-screen for the MLB Network.
Yeah,
that works just as well,
it
especially with a newborn. But well, until next time, Who's Coming Pairs. Take it easy. Thanks for listening.
Peace.